Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad that you all have joined us. Don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Keith Kavanagh, who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we'll open it up for sharing. Over to you, Keith.
Thanks very much, Dan, and thanks for having me back. Let's take a few quotes from A Course in Miracles. And this is from chapter 29. It's section 5 and it's paragraph 1. There is a place in you where this whole world has been forgotten, where no memory of sin and of illusion lingers still. There is a place in you which time has left and echoes of eternity are heard. There is a resting place so still, no sound except a hymn to heaven rises up to gladden God the Father and the Son. So there's a place in us right now. This place, this resting space, so still, no sound except a hymn to heaven rises up to gladden God the Father and the Son. Now, we don't have to find this place. We don't have to become this place. We don't have to go on a mission to find this place. It's already in our mind. It's just that it's getting covered over by thoughts that we think we're thinking, that we're not really thinking, that don't mean anything and that don't exist. Lesson 47. Try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you've reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. And it's there now. It's underneath thoughts you only think you're thinking, but it's already there in everyone. Of course, calls it the quiet center, the stately calm. It's already here. This is lesson 70. Now we will try again to reach the light in you, which is where your salvation is. You cannot find it in the clouds that surround the light, thoughts. And it is in them, thoughts, you have been looking for it. It is not there. It is past the clouds, thoughts, and in the light of pure being beyond. Remember that you will have to go through the clouds, thoughts, before you can reach the light. But remember also that you have never found anything in the cloud patterns, thoughts, you imagined that endured, or that you wanted. Since all illusions of salvation have failed you, surely you do not want to remain in the clouds, thoughts, looking vainly for idols there, thoughts about what you are, thoughts about what your brother is, when you could so easily walk on into the light of real salvation. Try to pass the clouds, thoughts, by whatever means appeals to you. This is lesson 131. For several minutes, watch your mind and see, although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. Review the thoughts as well, which are compatible with such a world, and which you think are true. Let them go, and sink below them to the holy place where they can enter not. There is a door beneath them, these thoughts, in your mind. which you could not completely lock to hide what lies beyond. Seek for that door and find it. But before you try to open it, remind yourself no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. And it is this request you make today. Nothing but this door beneath thoughts, nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued now or sought. Nothing before this door you really want, and only what lies past it do you seek. Put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open with your one intent to go beyond it. Angels light the way so that all darkness vanishes, and you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things you see. A tiny moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in this light reflects the truth you knew and did not quite forget in wandering away in dreams. Our dreams are made of thoughts. And so this lesson is talking to us about this place of light outside of thoughts, where there's no darkness, because darkness is made out of thoughts, where there's no problems, because problems are made out of thoughts, where nothing can be said about the truth of you, because that will be thoughts. Course in Miracles tells us salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts, the escape from thoughts. Lesson 4 tells us none of them, thoughts, represents your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. The good ones, good thoughts, are but shadows of what lies beyond, outside of thoughts, and shadows make sight difficult. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either. You don't want to be getting involved in thoughts. They're only telling you lies about what you are and what your brother is. Lesson 8. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it's not here now. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions, thoughts. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or in anticipating the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this because it's not really thinking about anything. So there's no thoughts happening in the holy place that thoughts can enter not. There are thoughts happening in the other mind, but they don't mean anything. And we spend all day clinging to thoughts and trying to push thoughts away, pushing and pulling on thoughts all day long. And the Course in Miracles tells us you don't want to be pushing on thoughts, you don't want to be pulling on thoughts, you don't want to be getting identified with them and taking them seriously, and you don't want to be trying to fight them and get rid of them. What you want to do is forgive them. This is how we go through the clouds, like lesson 70 is instructing us. We have to notice a thought and go, that's just a thought. I'm not going to push on it. I'm not going to try and pull on it. I'm not going to go to war with it, and I'm not going to believe it. Because it has nothing to do with the holy place that thoughts can enter, not. So, in our meditation this morning, we're going to find what's already here, the holy place that thoughts can enter not. and to experience what we are here in the Holy Spirit, and to experience that what we are as this light, as this beingness that cannot be soiled by thoughts, that we don't need thought to confirm our experience. We also don't need to go to war with thoughts. We need only recognize that they've nothing to do with us. Yes, there's an addiction. Yes, there's a temptation to go unconscious in them and think you are the one that's thinking them. Okay. So it's noticing that as it happens and just recognizing, oh, this is just a thought. This is just another thought. So even as you meditate, thoughts will go, oh, this is like the time that happened in the past. And you go, aha, that's just a thought. Just a thought. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't tell me anything about my experience. And a thought will go, you're never going to be able to stop thinking. And you have to recognize that and go, oh, that's just another thought. That's nothing. That tells me nothing about my experience. So let's give that a go together. I'll lead you into it a little bit. So, Teresa, would you like to ring that wonderful bell? So, again, just watch your mind and see, although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. Just review the thoughts happening, which are compatible with such a world, and which you tend to think are true when they're not. Just forgive them being there. Stop trying to do anything with them. Stop pushing on them and pulling on them. Just give them permission to be exactly what they are because they don't mean anything. They have nothing to do with what you are. They Each one is trying to construct a virtual reality world for you and warp your understanding of what you are and what the world is. But they can only do that when you identify with them, when you take them seriously, when you're trying to pull them towards you and hold on to them, or when you're trying to push them away. If you stop doing that, they have no power because they're just thoughts. So you just forgive all the thoughts that are happening, knowing that they tell you nothing. So you're not pondering or contemplating anything. You're not trying to understand anything. You're not trying to do anything. You're not trying to go anywhere. Those are just thoughts. You're not trying to hold on to anything. You're not analyzing anything or comparing it to anyone else, anything else. Just thoughts. Let all expectations go because they're just thoughts. Let all striving and seeking and trying to do something go because they're just thoughts. You don't need any thought to know what you are in the holy place that thoughts can enter not. You're just allowing yourself to experience this place where thought is noticed, but where thought has no power. Thought can tell you nothing about this place. So as thoughts bubble on the surface of the mind, go beneath them. And don't let thought near what you are that's here. All that's here in behind thoughts that don't mean anything is awakeness, alert beingness. It's a thoughtless space, a holy place where thoughts can enter not. Doesn't matter if thoughts are going on in the other mind, that has nothing to do with you. Just recognize if a thought grabs a hold of you and tries to drag you into a thought stream, that is just a thought and you're free. You are as completely awake. There's no content in it. There's no analyzing. There's no thinking about something. No pondering or contemplating. This thoughtless space is always in your mind. It's just behind thoughts that don't mean anything. And thoughts aren't bad or wrong or a problem. Thoughts are nothing. Lesson 4 tells us these thoughts don't mean anything. So we don't push or pull on them as though they're real, as though they make a powerful contribution to the truth and make it what it is, when they don't. We forgive them. We're letting go of all discernment. Thoughts are happening, and none of them mean anything. You don't have to analyze them, or get involved in them, or have an opinion on them, or try to do something with them. No discernment is necessary. All you're doing is noticing that thoughts are happening. So what? What does it have to do with you? A holy place where thoughts can enter not. All that happens is that you can forget the holy place and think that you're thinking and that they're true and that they tell you something important. But you're only ever the holy space. The holy space you are just gets mixed with thoughts and misperceives itself with thoughts about what it is. But you can't be anything other than the holy space. That's all that's ever here, regardless of thoughts. So just notice the next thought that comes in and remember the holy place. Thought doesn't have to drag you into it. It can just be an appearance. You don't need any discernment, any opinion on it. It's just a thought. It doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything is this holy place, which is the truth of you and the truth of everyone. But it's not a thought. It's not an object. Just notice thoughts that want to give you a running commentary on this and recognize that's just a thought. That's nothing. Tells me nothing. It has nothing to do with the holy place. And the thought says, oh, I can't stay here. I can't do that. That's not you. It's a thought. It's nothing. It's not true. It would be here if you didn't believe that thought. It's always here if you don't believe any thoughts. If you don't cling to them or try to push them away. It's always here. Even as thoughts come in, trying to sabotage the holy place, nothing sabotages the holy place. Ever. Nothing soils it here. You just come back by forgiving all the activity of the mind that pretends to be you. It's not you. You're the holy place that thoughts can enter not. Let them do what they want on the surface of the mind. They have no power here. Once you're not pushing on them or pulling on them, once you're giving them permission to do whatever they want, because what do they have to do with you? They have nothing to do with you. They have no power unless you give that power to them. So we try again and again to reach the light in you, which is where your salvation is, to know what you are outside of thought. You cannot find it in the thoughts that are surrounding the light. And it is in them you have been looking for it. It's in thoughts you've been looking for the answer to the riddle of yourself, who you are, what you need, what others are, what the world should be. It's where you've been looking for salvation. It's not there. It is past those thoughts. And in the light of the holy place, that thoughts have no power. And you just have to continue to go through the clouds, these thoughts, to reach the light. You have to recognize every thought is a lie. And you have to just recognize, oh, that's just a thought. That's not me. That's just a thought that's meaningless. Any analysis thoughts are doing in your mind, it's just thoughts. Doesn't mean anything. Just remember you've never found anything in thoughts that you wanted. What have thoughts ever done for you? All the illusions of salvation that thoughts have promised you have failed you. So you don't want to remain in the clouds, the thought, looking for idols there, thoughts about what you are, thoughts about what the world is, thoughts about how things should be. You don't want to remain there when you could so easily walk on into the light of real salvation. What are you that no thought can touch? What are you that no thought has power over? What are you that no thought can describe? It's the place in you where there is perfect peace, place in you where nothing is impossible, the place in you where the strength of God abides. I'll leave you to forgive the clouds by yourself for a while until the end of the meditation. Just when a thought presents itself, be ready for it. What's the next thought that's going to come in? That means nothing. So you can stay where the strength of God abides.
open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 14 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand. You can use the electronic hand at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Who would like to share? I'll just jump in here. Keith, I found that so helpful. Um, just noticing my thoughts and letting them go. It just brings me back to peace. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to carry that with me all through the day. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and that's beautiful because A Course in Miracles says that you can totally alter your sense of identity of what you are. You can live from the quiet center, the stately calm, the changeless dwelling place. This is what you are.
Mm.
Everything thoughts are telling you about what you are and what the world is and what your brother is a lie. Um, Everything thoughts are doing is the past. And lesson 8 says the one holy true thing we can say about the past is it's not here now. Um, and so we're really being asked to understand this piece is the truth of who we are. And A Course in Miracles is saying that I'm never upset for the reason I think. So I'm not upset about something that's happening in the world or in the body. I'm upset because I don't know that this holy place that thoughts can enter not is the truth of what I am and what my brother is. And the miracle is how I come home here to this shared identity where all is well. So that's beautiful, Dan, because that's exactly what the Course is saying is you can come home here anytime to remember the truth of what you are when you're sick listening to thoughts and all the pain that they're causing you through misperceiving yourself by thoughts.
And I also have a, a very busy mind that I've had all my life, and it creates anxiety and stress. Um, and when I was listening to a podcast of yours recently, I realized all I have to do is just quiet my mind and let these let this crazy insanity go, and it does bring you back to peace.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is we don't actually have to go to war with the busy mind. We just have to forgive it because whatever we forgive lets go of us. It has no more power over us. Um, so I know when my 8 year generalized anxiety disorder fell away, or when it started to fall away, what I was struck by was that there was a piece had come into the back of my mind, which was invulnerable. It was there in the middle of a busy mind. It was there in the middle of anxiety, and they couldn't touch it.
Mhm.
So for about 2 months, that was my sense of things. It was like, okay, so yes, there's anxiety going on in the wrong mind, but so what? There's a peace that's here regardless. Um, it's like the Course says, the other way is remaining quiet even in the midst of the turmoil that you may make. So that was my initial experience was there's a piece here in the middle of whatever madness is going on in the mind that means nothing. Um, and then at some point, a couple of months later, I realized, hang on a minute, I am that piece. And none of these thoughts mean anything. And that was the beginning of an identity shift and an awakening, which anyone can have. Sounds very dramatic when you say an awakening. An awakening is just when your identity shifts and you realize thoughts can tell you nothing about what you are, what the world is, or what your brother is. Only this holy place that thoughts can enter not is the truth of everyone and everything. right now in this moment, and everything else is just a private world, as the Course calls it. It's a virtual reality world that is coming from you, that you believe in, and the whole thing's made out of thoughts, and none of them are true.
Who would like to share? Norman, take yourself off mute.
Thank you. This isn't meant to be disrespectful, but just while I was listening to your short introduction, the only thought that was in my mind was, when is this ever going to stop? When am I going to get a bit of peace from this voice? And when eventually it did stop, your voice did stop, the Holy Spirit carried it on in your voice, but you weren't speaking. And all it said was something along the lines, never mind, Norman. And I just knew then that my mind was being cared for as well. And for the few minutes or so that was left, it was peaceful. And just before the total end, there was an all-seeing eye, to indicate to me I can't ever get upset. It means nothing. So, a bit mixed up, but thank you.
No, I think it's beautiful, Norman. I think the important realization is that peace is here when we don't oppose. The Course tells us, let all things be exactly as they are. So peace is here in the middle of someone speaking that I want to listen to, and it's here when there's someone speaking that is not going to be my preference. And peace is here when the mind is quiet. And peace is here when the mind is busy. Because there's two minds. One of them is an illusion. It doesn't mean anything. So the frantic one, jumping around thoughts, is an illusion. It's not you. You're always the holy place that thoughts can enter not. And all the Course is saying to us is, whatever you forgive, whatever you allow to be exactly as it is, without opposition to it, has no power over you, and you can know the peace that's here in every single moment, and that it's what you are with all your brothers. So thanks, Norma.
Who would like to share? Teresa, take yourself off mute.
Keith, thank you so much. In listening, I always feel that I do get an experience when I listen, whether I'm listening to you on a Sunday or like today. And I've recognized more and more separating out. I can't get to that quiet place, or I choose not to sometimes get to that quiet place, the really beautiful, peaceful. I get there for a few moments and then I get engaged again with the thinking. I quite enjoy the thinking, and I'm really happy that I'm aware that I'm enjoying it. Oh, what's going to come next? And what was going on this time was thinking about how I could fix this person or that person. Who would like this meditation? Oh, but they're not a course student. Da, 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 da. And so it went on, and I was smiling as well. The Quiet Center was smart, and I love the words that you use, the holy place, because I was thinking, could this person benefit with this kind of terminology? So it was all going on, and then it was something else that needed, maybe that's going to be, do we need to buy this or not buy this, a particular thing? And then I thought, well, it doesn't really matter. It was a bit like if there's a fear thought, it's like a thorn. And even if you get something that you don't really need, if it's going to take that thorn out, that fear out, that's okay. So then I thought, well, these are all just thoughts. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Teresa. And that's beautiful. And that's real progress. Lesson 70 says, now we will try again to reach the light in you, because we're going to have to come back and reach the light over and over and over and over and over and over again. And actually, it's called a miracle. In forgiveness, you remember the peace that's already here, which is what you are. You were just deluded by thought. And so it's a course in miracles, not their miracle, not our miracle, because we're going to get lost to thoughts, thinking we're thinking, lost in the clouds, looking for salvation in them over and over again. And we have the miracle which undoes that. And so we're going to have to do thousands of miracles a day when we notice, oh, these are just thoughts. I thought this was real, and let them go through forgiving them, not by fighting them or changing them. But when we begin to notice that thoughts are happening, that's real progress. That's real progress. Because what's noticing? It's the peaceful place that's already here. And so I think a huge measure of progress is when you're actually noticing thoughts are happening instead of being unconscious in them and dissociated from the holy place. So I think that's brilliant, Teresa, and just keep that up. Just keep noticing, oh, thoughts are happening. Oh, there's a fixation here in these thoughts. But what's noticing with that with no forgiveness? Because that's going to start to shine, and it's going to start shining away the fixation with thoughts. Beautiful.
Who'd like to share? Dennis, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Keith, for reminding us all that which is.
Yeah, perfect. What I am is what is, and thoughts can tell me nothing about it. They can only veil it from me with lies about the Holy Son of God. So beautiful, Dennis, and absolutely the case. What I am is what is. And concepts cannot warp it or twist it or change it. It is, the Course says there's a changelessness in your brother beyond appearance and deception both. And that's how you find yourself. This holy place is the truth of every son of God. And by seeing it there, I get to hold it as the truth of what I am. Changelessness. Only thoughts are the trickster. They keep telling me I'm different. When life's going great, I'm a good person. It's all fabulous. And when life goes to hell, they tell me I'm a crap person. I'm nothing ever works out for you. Everything you do, it's a mess. And that's changing. They're just thoughts that mean nothing, because the truth of what I am is changelessness. And it's always here. It's never absent. It's just veiled by identification with thoughts. It's thoughts have no power here. It's only when I get involved in thoughts, I forget the holy place. That's the truth of everyone. But again, we have the miracle to keep coming home. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Keith. Thank you, Keith. That was
Thank you, Keith. Wonderful.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you all.